And I almost daren't ask, but is everyone wearing trousers today?
Yeah,
Episode
that's it.
330. What happened? What the comic book?
I can't remember.
Oh,
Oh, yes, I do.
what?
Hank Pym smacked his wife around. Yeah,
Oh,
Oh,
this is the issue that he fucking laid flesh to flesh and slapped her. Yeah, yeah,
ah,
oh shit.
yeah.
flesh to flesh.
Guys, I'm bringing the party to you.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
You big dummy. Oh, great Odin's raven.
Say hello to my little friend.
I stepped in a ditch last night, man. I almost froze my balls off, man.
You take drugs, Danny?
Every day.
Good. So what's the problem?
Yeah, David.
Oh, there's no function beer well without.
On the dog side.
This aggression will not stand, man.
Engage.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Pulp Culture Cafe. This is season 13, episode 330. The gang is back together. That means myself and Paul and Seymour Kuntz. So that way, now I have to put explicit on the top. This is for adults only.
Yeah, yeah, that didn't last long, did it?
No,
So much for being clean.
yeah. Roll together. We're gonna do a show, and yeah, how's that, folks? Does that really get you? That really let you know what's happening? So let's get this
good
boat
hook.
on the road. Yeah, get the boat on the road. And so we're gonna talk about what are the few things you've been watching this week, gentlemen. Everybody doesn't say anything, so I'll start because I'm the one rambling
Cool.
to get you into it. So there's a show that is a Canadian production. It's called North of North. It's a CBC, but it's also on Netflix right now. I don't know if it's on the British Netflix or not, but it's about a young woman, a Ninuit woman, and I found it really entertaining because it takes place way up north, where even when it's summertime, you still gotta wear a parka because it's minus whatever. So, and it's about her journey as she was married to the town's everyman. He's the guys of the guys. He's every woman wants him, but she got married to him. But you know, in that culture, it's kind of like you're married. The husband is the guy who does everything, and you're basically the housewife sort of deal. I think that's the way I got the feeling of. But it talks about the interaction with their culture, people from down Southerners, her journey to try and rediscover herself to feel more important in what she's doing in the community. It's a dramedy. It has drama and comedy like most shows now they do nowadays. It's only eight shows, but I really enjoyed it. It was a good way to. It has a mixture. The other thing I like about it is that when they talk, it isn't. It's not always in English. When they're talking to the elders and stuff, it's in the native language, and you put the subtitles up so you know what's going on. So they didn't brush that away, and so. However, I just think give it a chance. I'm finding it's nice to start seeing Canadian TV productions that are Canadian, but don't feel like they are Canadian. You know, it's like it always seemed like we were producing something, and it was like the Canadian thing was jammed down your throat to make sure you knew it was Canadian. Now we're tired of showing it takes place here, and the other show, Son of a Critch, it takes place in Newfoundland. So I've been watching that. I watched one episode of a TV thing called Project UFO. It's a Polish TV show, and it's about it takes place in the 70s. The Poland was still part of the bloc, part of the Russians empire, and it's a serious show. It's about one guy who debunks UFOs, and then this other guy who has this theory that the UFOs are not really UFOs; they come from underground. And the opening scene shows him the UFO effect, where they got the bright lights and stuff like that, and the beams coming up from the ground, and their conflict of trying to, he's trying to prove him wrong, the other guy's trying to prove him right. They take it, a little. It's like most of the time we said something here, they would go, "Oh no, you're full of shit. You've been drinking or whatever," right? But the state takes it serious. They send this guy out to look at a apparent UFO, and the lady cop, I think she's a little touched, because it's hard to describe her. I mean, that's the one thing when you watch programs from different countries, especially if you get away from the English, right? If you get you watch our programs, you watch the state stuff and watch stuff from England. They're kind of the same. There's a little bit different storytelling, but mostly the same. But when you get to shows from Japan, like this Polish show, Italy, anywhere else, the whole concept of how they do shows and how they present it to you, to us it looks weird, but to them that's how their life is. You kind of get what I'm saying? Is that their style of doing stuff? It's like I giggle at it. I don't understand it, but I also enjoy it because it's so different. So that was it. And then I'll do this, and we'll go on. I watched. I wrote it down. One Cut of the Dead.
Oh, did you watch it?
Yes. Okay. Is it actually an hour and a half movie?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Because the way you had described it, you and Dave, the first time, it sounded like it was just this. What I remember is just this short film, right?
Right.
Okay.
Oh yes, the way we described it, it was sort of included in a film festival all-night screening, which included short films. So it was kind of a movie. It was sort of essentially it's a short film within a bigger film. I think. So
did they just show the film itself, not the extra part of the movie, or did they show the whole thing?
Oh, whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they showed the whole thing on the night. Yeah.
Okay, so I thought it was that. So that was. So we talked about the zombie part. I enjoyed it. I get a kick of the director popping out of fucking nowhere. Action!
Yeah.
and
it's a very odd film, but
yes,
it's definitely a stroke of genius.
Oh yeah, and then it kept going. I said, "What the fuck?" I thought Paul said it was on this. So I did fast forward through the part where they're just kind of, in the household talking, the daughter and stuff like that. What the fuck is this? But as I go, I stopped it. Then they started showing actual filming of it. Yeah. And then I really started enjoying it too, because it started getting funny again. They didn't know what the fuck was going on. The one guy that got the shits, that was part of the movie. He had the shits and he had to go. And so they decided to turn him into a zombie. Wasn't in the script. They just the one guy, he's just fucked up on sake. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. The one part he's laying in in the fake bodies, and there's one with a rubber tits. One he's kind of cupping the tip and. And just how they made the tripod got busted.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
they had to figure
yeah.
it out. The wife who got too involved in her character.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, it starts off looking like absolute chaos,
yeah,
but right at the very end, when you see how they actually did it,
yeah,
it's kind of genius.
yes.
It's I think it's very well done. It obviously took a lot of work.
I actually saved it, and the thing is, I didn't get it illegally. There is a site called the Internet Archives. It's a big
Yeah.
site. It has all kinds of stuff in it. Somebody uploaded it to there.
Oh, interesting.
So I got it from there. I didn't have to go find it anywhere, like illegally off of one of the torrent sites. And it came with the subtitles and everything. So I thought, holy fuck, someone's got that in the archives.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I didn't have to get it. But I really enjoyed it. I saved it.
Yeah.
I usually watch it and okay, this is fine, then I get rid of it. But I actually put it in my folder in my hard drive for the TV, and it's saved in there. I really the the first part I enjoyed it, but I really enjoyed the second part more. Sorry.
Yeah. It's a very clever film, and if I think I had the same experience that you did, whereas for the first half of the film, you think, "What the fuck is this about?" And then the second half, when it's all going on, and all of a sudden it's riveting, and it's sort of like, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
Yeah.
And then, but as far as films go, I think it's a very interesting idea that's done very well.
Yes.
And I think it's definitely worth watching. I'm deliberately talking around what it's about and what happens, just in case anybody listening is interested enough to go and watch it. So it's One Cut of the Dead. It is available on certain, well, not necessarily free unless you go to Internet Archives, but you can get it in various places. And I think it's definitely worth a watch.
Yes, it is. It's just it is worth a watch. You might want to watch the parts that I skipped by because I thought it was going to get too serious. It's more than one thing I didn't really care about. Knowing that, I don't know if I'll go back and watch that part again, but it's a film. Yeah, it's 2019. I think it was.
Thereabouts. It might even be slightly earlier than that.
Yeah, 2017. But worth it. So
yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Because that was a good year. When we went, I think that year we went to Leeds for the film festival. I think that same year we watched Executive Koala as well, which I think is another Japanese film about a koala bear that's an executive at a company, but it's just a man in a koala suit. And he ends up one of his business rivals as like a squid in a suit as well, and it's insane, just insane year for movies. Whenever it was that we actually went, but we see quite a lot of insane movies over at that film festival. It's very interesting. No, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you made the effort. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did. I really did. I sat home yesterday and went through a whole bunch of stuff that I looked at some of the stuff that you sent me. I asked if you to watch. Some of it I did watch. I'll throw in just one more, and then you guys can talk about. I watched Doctor Who, the first episode.
Oh right, okay.
I have to admit I enjoyed it. It didn't have anything other. I think there was one sort of thing he mentioned, but it was so quick and that really didn't do anything. But it was finally just an adventure. Again, like what I want from Doctor Who. Yeah. Right? And so go ahead.
I mean, me and my wife both watched it. We nearly didn't. We were kind of almost out of Doctor Who. We thought, you know what, let's just not bother. But we gave it a go. And it was okay. It was a decent episode. But we were playing Woke Bingo. And we did actually win a couple of prizes.
Oh, did you?
So it's like my wife noticed more than I did. I was just watching because it was an episode of Doctor Who, but she was checking it all off, sort of like gender politics and it's that sort of thing. It's like okay, they slipped that one and I almost didn't notice. So it's definitely still there, but I think they've toned it down a little bit.
I only noticed one So the other, they must have did pretty good because I didn't notice the other ones.
Hmm.
Right? I just noticed this one, which I wasn't sure it was, but it was. But I have a story later on we'll talk about Doctor Who and an article written by a gentleman about Doctor Who. So,
Okay.
all right. Okay, so I'm going to go, we'll go with Mr. Seymour Kuntz with what a few shows he's watched.
Did you either of you have a chance to watch Kraven, the Hunter, the movie?
No, it's still not on free.
Not yet.
Okay, I'm going to do a review of it. You guys can get to it when you get to it. I'll be curious what your thoughts are on it.
Okay.
It grossed $59 million worldwide. It wasn't even close to a $59 million movie. I've seen a lot shittier movies do about $200 million. And it got a lot less of a box office than it actually deserved. There were problems with it. Calypso was poorly cast. The actress who played her was just it was an odd choice, and the whole dynamic actually between her and Craven was very odd. Like, Aaron Taylor, what's his first name? Jason Aaron Taylor?
Yeah.
I think it's Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
This is a big, strapping, handsome man, and the way they interacted, he could have been the company toad. It was very odd. Like it's like they've taken, and I mentioned in a couple of other movies, Twisters and the bike riders, where they don't want to fuck around with intimacy coordinators, so they have no sense of tension at all, which is very odd because they're both very attractive people. Even the company that she worked for, they just treated them like weird shit. It was very odd. It's very odd. Like if a beautiful woman walked in there like that, it would not have been like that. It was just a very weird dynamic between Calypso and him because she was constantly shitting on him and he couldn't do anything right. It was like one of those things that you see is really reserved for unattractive men a lot of the time. And this guy was just, he couldn't do anything right around her. It was a very odd dynamic, and the actress herself really didn't fit the role. So that was a big red flag for me. The Rhino was actually, I thought, better than the. Remember they have Paul Giamatti in that metal thing in the Spider-Man, and it did. It looked like shit. Yeah, I thought it looked like shit. This is more biology based, and I didn't think it looked too bad at all. A lot of people were shitting on the CGI, but it didn't look too bad at all.
I gotta interrupt you for a second. I just got a thing that popped up and says this meeting will end in 15 minutes.
Wow.
On my end.
I got that as well, actually.
Did you? You got that too?
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
This meeting has a time limit of 60 minutes.
So if it pops off, I'll be phoning you back and see what happens.
Okay.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah. We need to set a timer, then we can stop the conversation at an appropriate point, and you can stitch it together afterwards.
Yeah. Well, just blame it on Teams when I edit it together.
Bunch of pricks.
Yeah.
The chase scenes were very, very well done. They're part Captain America and part Tom Cruise, which is, a pretty good, like that, that fight scene in Civil War. And then Aaron Taylor could give Tom Cruise in the running across the city kind of it was very good. It was very well done. Those scenes, those action scenes in the film in general, the action scenes were done very well. That first 8 minutes when I saw that, I was thinking to myself, this does not look like a bad movie, and that absolutely was one of the better parts of the movie. They're giving too much away. They introduced another character at the end, and that reveal again was done very well. I was like, by the end of it, I was thinking to myself, I would like to see these two characters in a movie that's now obviously never going to happen. But they put in some Easter eggs. They mentioned Miles Warren, which of course was a jackal in New York City. So they built it to plan for another universe, but that was kind of like the final nail in the coffin. But definitely not a $59 million film. And I put online that it just feeds my conspiracy that they've been Marvel's been kneecapping anything that Sony puts out to kind of like put them in the ground. And this was like the last, I'd say, the final nail. You're going to see the Spider-Man movies, but that expanded universe is pretty well dead.
Oh. Okay. Well, when it finally comes on here, so I think it might be on somewhere, but I was going to wait to watch it when we all did, but it's fine.
I was even prepared to rent it, to be honest, because I was already convinced that it wasn't going to be as bad as an awful lot of people said it was going to be. But I just ended up not having the time, and it came down to, am I going to watch Craven or am I going to watch The Crow, which is on my list of things that I've watched recently. And The Crow just happened to be free on Amazon Prime. So I thought, well, I'll watch The Crow first and then try and find time to watch Craven afterwards. I just haven't found time to watch it. But I definitely will. Definitely will. If nothing else, just out of curiosity at this point, just to see, form my own opinion. Yeah. But I'm absolutely convinced it wasn't going to be as shit as the internet said it was. No, because the internet was saying it was shit before it even came out.
Yeah,
we've had this conversation before. Yeah. Definitely, it was a sabotage.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I my viewing habits have changed to, do I feel like it? Do I really feel like watching this again or watching this? And that's caused what happened. Just an example, I still haven't finished Reacher. I still, whatever. It doesn't. A lot of stuff doesn't grab me much anymore. So I get to a certain time where I turn off the TV and I'd rather pick up my book and start reading. TV to me is like, it's kind of like a bore. It's unless I find something really catching. But anyways, what else you been watching there, Scotty?
Have either of you watched the first episode of The Last of Us?
No, yes. That's another one I haven't watched because I haven't felt like it.
Okay, well, the first episode was I've been getting a lot of these. Good, not great. It was good, but there were a few things that I was kind of. I love seeing Catherine O'Hara in a serious role. Her scene as a psychologist for the group was great. I mean, she should be doing more serious roles, and it kind of goes to that golden rule I've said: the best comedians make the best dramatic actors, and she's definitely in that mode. The scene between her and Pedro Pascal was very well done. Highlight of the series.
Just on that. Sorry, I was just filling the silence for a moment just by agreeing with you. That particular scene between those two actors.
Yeah.
It was amazing because they were both clearly exceptional actors. And they were both having a conversation face to face. They were both internalizing traumatic pain, and they were really showing more of it in the eyes and on the face than they were by virtue of what they were saying.
Yes,
especially Pedro Pascal, who was mostly silent most of the time, and he was just expressing that just through his sort of expressions and crying, sort of unable to speak. It was a really good scene, really good stuff.
Probably the best scene of the episode.
Yes.
The fight scenes. It's I don't care how much leverage you have. An 80-pound person doesn't kick the shit out of a 250-pound person. And they said, well, there's martial arts, and it's funny because after this, there was video after video of Muay Thai and martial arts guys saying, it wouldn't happen like this. They said that, a lighter opponent can take down someone else, and they're literally just picking this person up and slamming them to the ground. But that's, stuff like that happens. It happened a lot in the CW where it's like this was, you really, you have to stretch reality by the premise itself, but then you have to go that extra step and say, I'm really going to stretch reality now. So that was a bit off, but,
well, we can always bring that back to our favorite action actress, Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, Kate Beckinsale, same idea. The homophobic moment. I was trying to put myself inside that character's mind. I've lost everything. Humanity has collapsed. I'm on the outskirts. I've lost my family. I've lost my friends. I look across a room, and there's two girls kissing, and I just lose my shit. And I was like, it was literally felt like people fight, two people fighting over a rotary phone. Okay, you know what? That moment's past.
Yeah.
We're okay with that. Yeah. But that whole scene was I was like, it seemed like we're going to find a hill to die on, even if no one cares about the hill.
Yeah.
And that whole scene was very weird and awkward. And I was thinking, this doesn't happen. It
happens. It happens still, but
in the apocalypse,
Yeah, in apocalypse, no, but
Yeah.
it is. That's why I've always said is that if you just treat it normally, people will start
Yeah.
accepting it normally. But when you
Yeah.
so what they did is took a scene that you're right. Nowadays, it's like okay, big
Yeah,
deal,
yeah. It's
and then threw this in for controversy,
yeah.
right? No
In
other
the middle
reason.
of the apocalypse,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
they'd have bigger fish to fry
Yeah.
by a long shot. That
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
bit weird, but nice foreshadowing. The end, the pipes and the guys who were coming to. I never played the video game, so you would know more about these characters than I would.
Actually, like I said when we talked last time, I have the games, but I've never played them, so
Okay, yeah,
I don't know why.
but
I just haven't. Same with you.
oh, you have.
No, I have both
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I guess this character, the girl is a lot bigger in the video game. I guess it's quite the stocky character. But I mean, it was a nice setup for foreshadowing. I mean, I think the big stuff's going to come down the road from what they showed a preview of what's going to happen in the new season. I'm really looking forward to Jeffrey Wright. He was in Westworld.
Yes, he's gonna be
He
in
was
it.
he's a great actor, and I'm looking forward to what he can bring to the series.
This is a side note. We'll have to maybe pick it up later if we get hanged up and get phone back. Are you finding, and it's just a lot of the really good actors nowadays are black? Because when I start thinking of actors who are serious and really good at their jobs, I hardly ever think of any white actors. Jeffrey Wright,
I think
Denzel Washington. Is it Jordan? Well, Jordan Peele is the director, but Michael B. Jordan, is that it?
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, yeah.
It's like, man, when you want someone to give you a good performance, those are the guys you go to. I mean, I don't. Go ahead.
There's something that's happened in Hollywood in the last 5 years that
Or they're British.
I don't know how else to put this, but if you're a white dude in your 40s, you've been kind of cast out. You're, it's just I see them because they go and do indie films. Or they go to Paramount.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the shows you got Billy Bob Thornton and even not Schwarzenegger, Stallone over on. I mean, that's just where we're at, and I've noticed a lot of them are just they're at Paramount or they're doing indie stuff.
But see, I'm not talking about that. I'm just thinking these are good actors. They really capture me.
I'm
not talking about that.
Ones.
Yeah, I'm not talking about racist
ones,
stuff.
Like when I see, I'm watching right now a movie, so-called Invasion, and it's got a lot of international cast and great actors I've never seen before. And Sweet Tooth was like that too, where there was a lot of international cast of great actors I'd never seen before. I do like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just driving along and in my own mind in my car, right? Because I'm by myself listening to whatever. And I just popped in my head, man, there's a lot of actors I've seen that. Because Michael B. Jordan has just come up with that movie, that Vampire.
Sinners.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking,
looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. And I just, man, there's a lot of strong black actors out there, and they seem to be dominant.
Yeah, and Mahershala Ali, who was going to be Blade. I think he's won two Oscars so far. I think
they fucked that up so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
they fucked that up so bad.
All that money they've left on the table is just ridiculous.
I heard they built the whole set.
Yeah.
They had built a whole set. Yeah, one complete set that had finished and ready to go. So, so we're all watching the countdown here, folks. So hopefully, if we can, I have no idea what's going to happen because this has not happened the first 2 times I've done this, I believe. Yeah. I've talked with Scott, I think twice on this now, or once.
Once, but they got us on the hook, and they're like, "Hey, look what those people are doing."
Yeah,
and
so I'm hoping that they're stupid enough not to say, "Okay, we can't phone back these same people." If that happens, I really don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to have to.
I'm sure,
Scott, you're going to have to help me pay for it. I can't keep paying for all this stuff. Actually,
Susan said to me, which is even worse. She said that she had told me Microsoft Teams, she said it's not one person that pays for it. Every person on the call has to pay for their monthly subscription to Teams. That's what she told me. That's what she had told me. She said that each person is going to have to pay the whatever the fee is to be able to access Teams. There you go. So
right. Is anybody here paying a subscription to Microsoft for it at the moment?
No,
because it'll be included in
no.
I just wondered if right.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to discuss it. I mean, if we're going to have to do this, we're going to have to pay, right?
Because I do have Microsoft Office on a different account.
Yeah.
So I can just switch my account.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. But
well, we've got 90 seconds left, gentlemen. I just want to let you know that I am in fact not wearing pants.
Oh.
I knew it.
I fucking knew it.
I can tell by the way you start.
heard that ripping sound on the fucking vinyl every time I moved.
Okay.
This is almost like the doomsday clock. Are we just going to watch the time tick away and see?
Yeah, well, we'll just keep talking and then see what happens, because I wrote that down. So far for titles, I got Flesh to Flesh, Company Toad, and Not Wearing Pants.
Nice. But just to finish up The Last of Us, it's I enjoyed the episode overall. There were a few things, but it wasn't even storyline. It was just they were trying to stick in things that really didn't fit there. Mm-hmm. But the season looks really good. Other than that, I mean, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. And it was actually renewed for the third season, which they were wondering whether they were going to actually do it or not.
I've got some things to say about The Last of Us, but I won't start until we find out whether we're going to have to call back in again. So we'll give it 30 seconds and see what happens. But yeah, with having played both games, and I know a little bit about the background of this current season as well, and the way that things are being presented and filmed, and the order in which it's coming out. So that might answer a couple of questions as well.
Okay, so it's gone past. So
so that's fixed it. Yeah, sorry about that, Jen.
So no, it's fucking Microsoft, those cocksuckers.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving that in the podcast. My podcast.
John's gone.
What the?
His microphone's showing muted.
There you go.
Oh, your mic. There
you go. That's better. Yeah,
what
that's
the
better.
I'm telling you,
what a piece of shit.
There's a ghost in the fucking machine, because I'm telling you, right there when you got muted, I was like, you had that look on your face like, I didn't do that. And there's some bizarre shit going on here. There's some tech in India right now saying, look at me fucking with these people. We'll tell you right now, look at these fucking people. Look at these people.
Anyways, many shows ago, Paul went off on, was it Microsoft?
Probably.
Yeah.
So one of the many people have been off on.
Teams, suck my balls. You fucking cocksucker, fucking rich cocksuckers, motherfuckers. There goes our good, clean rating. Cocksuckers talk. Because I haven't watched it.
Okay.
So you go right ahead.
The dog came, by the way, if anyone wants to know.
The dog came? No, good.
The dog came.
I'll put that in my creamer.
But that could be a title for the show.
Well, I forgot to. You weren't here when I mentioned it, but the guy came. Susan calls me upstairs and she's on the phone, and the guy said he's outside.
Yeah.
And I opened the door and there's no one there. And she said, "You said you were outside." She's like, "No, ma'am, you misunderstood me. I'm at my first call of the morning. We'll be there in about an hour and a half."
Right.
Like, why the fuck do we care? You've started your day.
So just before we were rudely interrupted by Microsoft Teams, not wanting us to have a conversation, which is essentially what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
So The Last of Us Part 2, I watched the first episode. Now, it was good. Now, the thing is, I've played both games, and both games are excellent video games. Very cinematic. The story is the primary thing, really, I would say, in these games. Now, the gameplay is great. The gameplay is excellent, stunning. But it's all about the story-driven games. And what's interesting about The Last of Us Part 2, obviously I know what happens. I know how it ends. And what I do know from having watched episode 1 and some of the things you were saying about the homophobic comments being made about certain scenes, seem a little bit strange. In the game, there's a little bit more time jumping. Now, season 3 that you've mentioned earlier, they've actually split this story into 2 parts. The Last of Us Part 2 is quite a long game. Now, instead of telling it in 1 season, they've split it up and they're going to tell it over the course of 2 seasons. So whereas you have time jumping throughout the story in the second game, you can't wait a year or 2 years to find out what the payoff is as to why you're seeing something now. So they've changed the order. It seems to me that they're showing you the story in a chronological order rather than in the order in which it was in the game. So some of it seems a little weird. So whereas in the game, you see what happens after the homophobic event, now you're seeing the homophobic event, which seems really weird out of context. But when you're actually playing the game, you see people reacting to that and dealing with that, and then you see what they are dealing with later on in the game. You actually see the event itself. So they've kind of fucked it around a little bit, and it does feel kind of weird. And it's quite interesting to hear you say that, because you're going in just watching a TV show. You have no idea what the story's about. You're going in clean. It might as well as not even be based on a game as far as you guys are concerned, because you haven't played the game. And you're a little bit, you've noticed that it's not right, that the way that the story is being told at the moment, it doesn't seem right. And that's because they've changed up the story in the way it was intended to be told through the game. Now, what's interesting is, now you mentioned last week when you were talking about it, about you wondered whether the writers of the writers of the show were doing it differently to the writers of the game. Well, the person who wrote the game is called Neil Druckmann, and he's actually one of the executive producers on the show.
Yes.
So he has quite a significant amount of input into this. And these are decisions that they've all made. Now, rightly or wrongly, remains to be seen. But ultimately, they've made some choices that one of the biggest things about the show, which you might have seen online, is that, and you mentioned it earlier, the young lady who was at the gravesite earlier on, Abby, in the game, she's massive. Yeah. Really, really, really bulky, really ripped, massive, big muscles, really, a real unit. And she's not in the game. She's not in the show, and that was a big deal. That was a big deal to the game's fans, because that is quite a departure.
I heard about that.
There's a reason for it. Yeah, there's a reason for it in the game. Now, I suspect the reason for it in the TV show is that they put all the chips on Bella Ramsey for being Ellie, and in the game she sort of matures and develops and grows. And there's a significant difference between Ellie in the first game and Ellie in the second game. Bella Ramsey as an actor, as a human being, as a person, hasn't grown, matured and developed in the same way as Ellie between games 1 and game 2. So I think if they suddenly put her up against some huge big bodybuilding type woman, it's sort of like, wow. And like you were saying before, when you've got a small person fighting a much larger person, all of a sudden it's not quite as, in a game all it is, it's just button presses and timing. But in a TV show, when you're watching someone like Bella Ramsey fight someone who's like Gina Carano, it's like, no, that just takes you, that you just can't believe that is just not going to happen. So I think they've had to change certain things up, so it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. But so far it's good. I don't think the changes they've made are making it any better. And the nature of the way that they're breaking the game story up, it does feel kind of weird. This
is, in general, okay, I'm not a gamer. I played video games when I was younger. Are most games now, do they bring social politics and politics in general right into the game? Because you had mentioned that there's gay and lesbian storylines. Do they build the controversy like that right into the game, like what was in the show?
Pretty much.
It's so bizarre to see that. Like it's like having gender neutral pong paddles when I was 10. It's like it's to build stuff that's non-video game related into a video game is completely alien to someone who played video games as a kid, and it's like you just want to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I'm not even sure why that's in the game. I don't know. I think it's just social messaging for the sake of social messaging. To be quite honest with you, I don't think it serves the plot at all, if I remember correctly. But just the way that it's been told in the TV show is far more clumsy because it just seems broadly out of context. Whereas at least it's woven into the game storyline because of the time jumping. And I think it's more of a time jumping tool because when you see the aftermath, you know that it's sort of present day. And when you see prior to, or you see the event itself, you know that it's happening back in the past. I think it's just a tool to like place you on the timeline. Whereas now, just chucking it in, because it's happening chronologically, it's like it doesn't need to be there at all. Yeah. It just feels weird. I'm not sure.
Well, video games have gone a very. I don't know if this would be right, Paul. Either yes or no, maybe. But the bigger video games where they spend years trying to develop, I think a lot of those now they've gone to it has to be a good story as well as the game action itself. We have to tell a story. People want to see the story now. I couldn't even what game would be the first game to come out with that really emphasized story and gameplay, where before it was gameplay with a little bit of story behind it.
Yeah.
So they're and because you're getting writers from today's society, instead of just trying to tell a story, they need to flesh it out by bringing in subjects that really don't need necessary in the game. So that's my take on it.
I don't know about the games, but I've seen a few of the controversies and a few of the bombs. Like there's been some big name video game bombs that have just like, there was one in particular, I can't even remember the name, where they would not let you play the game unless you put in your preferred pronouns. And a lot of people just said, go fuck yourself, and they just stopped playing the game, which is just, why would you handicap yourself like that over a video game you're trying to sell? But anyway, I'm kind of outside that loop, but it is interesting because, this has just happened over the last 25 years, but to someone who stopped kind of playing video games 1920, I said it's like gender neutral pong paddles. Yeah. It's like, what are you talking about? It's a video game. So
as with most things these days, some people will just find a reason to create a controversy. It's like one that springs to mind. I mean, now having said that, I need
Rage
to agree. Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I neither agree nor disagree with this because it's not for me to say. But a controversy was about a game. I think it was Kingdom Come to Deliverance. It was called, and it's a very deep role-playing game about a medieval era, which is also like armor, swords, knights, castles, that sort of shit, and it's supposed to be very sort of historically accurate, and there was a big controversy at one point because there were no people of color in the game.
Yes,
and the people who were making it were accused of all sorts of racism, goodness knows what else. And I think at one point somebody from that company said that actually there weren't any people of colour in this area at this time. This is historically accurate.
Yeah.
But the big story was they're racist because they haven't put any people of colour in the game. It's like that's just a perspective on that story, isn't it? That's like you say, it's just rage bait. It's just finding something to be annoyed about.
That's why I'm done with the human race. Fuck the human race.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, so I think that's about it for The Last of Us.
Well, gentlemen, I don't want to seem rude, but because all the fuck ups we had with this, we're gonna have to cut some of this what we watch stuff to get some information. Get some information about just general news stuff now.
Sure. Can I say I'll talk about one more TV show?
Yeah, I'm actually cutting you right out of this. I'm sorry.
Oh, right. Okay.
No, you go ahead and talk. But we're all supposed to have like 3 or 4 to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, just
Oh, I thought you meant you just cutting me out the whole show
no,
entirely.
no. That's not
Fuck
what
that
I
guy.
meant. I was just because I went to.
I just
But go ahead, Paul. No, that's not what I meant.
okay. I no, I know what you mean now. It's just the way it sounded for a moment. I thought, oh
Yeah,
shit, okay.
yeah.
I thought, well, so yeah, I just want to talk very briefly about Daredevil.
Okay.
The season finale aired the other day. I don't know whether either of you've seen it or not.
I have.
Yeah. Oh, you've not watched any yet, have you, Scott?
No, you may have heard, but Susan and I are getting a new TV, and when we do, we're getting Disney Plus to watch Daredevil.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Uh, the, I hesitate to say this then because it's kind of a spoiler. I don't want to ruin it for Scouts.
I don't
But-
care.
Okay, you don't care. Go for it.
I'm going to hold you to that then. So, we've spoken about Daredevil over the past couple of months, and as you know, I've been loving it, despite any criticism that's been leveled against it about the pacing, about the disjointed nature of the story. We all know that it's gone through several rewrites. We all know they've reshot some things. We all know that they've cut some things out. And yes, I think it's noticeable, if we're being honest. But I do love the way that they're interpreting Daredevil, Kingpin, all the background characters. I think it's very, very well done. And I think the way that they're handling the characters is excellent. And for those reasons, I've been really, really enjoying the show. However, even I, at the end of the season finale, even I thought, what the fuck was that? Even I thought, I don't know what the writers were thinking with that episode because it just doesn't seem to be well developed at all. It started off great. Now, for a start, the Punisher's back in it. So, I mean, holy shit, that's a big win in my book. They could pretty much have done anything, and I would have absolutely loved this show. So I was absolutely thrilled when Frank Castle came back into it. And halfway through the episode, they make some very interesting choices with regard to the Punisher. And I thought, I can't believe that John Bernthal agreed to this, because this seems stupid. This just doesn't seem right. I don't know why the Punisher's doing this. I don't know what he's trying to achieve. I don't know what he thought the goal, the outcome was going to be. I don't know why this is happening. And then there's a mid-credits scene at the end, and it's sort of like, so what was that all for? What was that all about? I don't understand it. And then, of course, there's the massive disappointment where Daredevil says, we need our own army. And then when he walks into that room at the end of it, and I was kind of, as soon as he said that, I'm thinking, holy shit, Jessica Jones is coming. Because there was that kind of a rumour that Kristen Ritter was going to film a couple of scenes. I thought, fucking hell. I thought, here we go. Jessica Jones is going to be in this show. And there was absolutely no one from any other of the Netflix shows at all appearing at the end of it. And I thought, you just set yourselves up to fail there. Because everyone's going to be thinking exactly the same thing, and we're all going to be absolutely heartbroken that the people that we really wanted to see there aren't there. Now, whether they appear in the next season or not doesn't matter, because that was your moment. That was your chance to give us something to go out on a massive high, to just shut everyone the fuck up who's been complaining about certain elements of the previous 9 episodes, and just say to them, right, there you go. This is what's coming in season 3, and everyone would have just sat back and said, just take my money, just have all my money. I just can't fucking wait to see this. And now all we're thinking is, what a missed opportunity. That was actually really disappointing. So I kind of really loved Daredevil Born Again, but even I was disappointed by the direction the writers took us in the last episode. It was, fell off a bit of a cliff, unfortunately. But hopefully, because they're only just shooting season 3 now, get all that shit about the reshoots and the rewrites and everything out of the way, and just focus on season 3 and make it a coherent story. Just make it work. For fuck's sake, just make it work. Bring these characters back. do some justice to them, and go out on a high. Because I think I'd be surprised if there was going to be another season after the next one, when they finish this. I'd be surprised. I would, and that's just because of the way that Disney's going and the way the Marvel shows are going. I just think that they'll finish this Born Again storyline. I think that'll probably be about it, because at that point it's going to be nigh on 10 years since they first started making these things. No one's getting any younger.
No.
So let's just go out on a high. Let's just do a good job, and I think I called it season 3 before, and I meant season 2. Yeah. Let's just go out on a high. Let's do all these characters justice. Let's just write something that's going to be absolutely outstanding, and let's see which way it goes. But yeah, little disappointed by the ending of it.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I really enjoyed every episode, regardless of what the internet was saying. I don't give a fuck, because the characters are amazing.
Well, the other thing, as I talked about this last show, is that they kept talking about how it's going to be over the hill violence. Yeah. And I didn't see it any worse than the Netflix. The only difference is they like to show a lot more blood when Frank was doing his little thing, but
this was by far the most violent episode of the series. Now, like you say, it wasn't necessarily more violent than any of the Netflix shows, but it's definitely the most violent that we've seen a MCU Disney Plus show.
Yeah, but the guy who's said, he made it sound like the whole thing was ramped up, you know. And that's nope. You got the one episode, really, maybe two, where they had it, but most of the time it was just no. So I just felt that was, a salesman trying to sell his stuff that, when you get it home, you realize you just got conned by the salesman. So
snake oil salesman. Yeah.
Yeah. But, all right. Well, we're going to move on to just regular news sort of stuff. So, so let's see. I have a bunch of shows that I watched. Oh, I'll bring this up with the other stuff in the news, but the one thing I have a few trailers. The Fantastic Four, the latest one. Any thoughts?
I watched that.
Any thoughts on that one?
Well, as you know, the first trailer that we watched didn't really hit for me. This one did much more. I thought, yes, I want to see this movie. Now, this is a movie I want to see. The previous one didn't really show me anything that made me think I'm going to go to the cinema for that and watch that. But in this trailer, it kind of did. I saw a little bit of humour. I saw a little bit of action. Interesting choice with the Silver Surfer, but I don't really give a shit. Yeah. So I'm not going to complain about that. But generally speaking, I thought this is looking like it's going to be quite an interesting film. Bearing in mind we've got the Doctor Doom one coming up, and we know that the Fantastic Four are in it. I think this is definitely a more interesting film now than it was after the first trailer for me.
Yeah, Scott.
I think it's going to be successful because I think they're going to do what they did with Rogue One. It's going to end up the whole world's going to die. I think you're going to meet characters in the film, and then the whole planet's going to be eaten by Galactus, and characters that you've cared about and learned to care about over the last 2 hours are going to die, except for the Fantastic Four who are going to go to the Marvel, the MCU 616. So I think on that merit, it'll be successful. If it does go off the rails and doesn't get the reception they want it to be, it'll be because what stuff like John and I talked about last week with Johnny Storm, we're going to make him this way, and the CGI, I mean, it's been a bit misleading, but they showed the Silver Surfer from 2007 and her from 2025, and I'm going to wait till the finished product in the movie, but that CGI looked really rough for the Silver Surfer in 2025. But again, I want to see what it's going to look like in the finished film. But the 2007 one, when they put them side by side, and I was thinking, okay, that doesn't look good on the surface. Let's see what it looks like in the final product. Galactus, when the foot moved along, it almost looked like that was a miniature set. It looked like a miniature. I saw the cars off to the side, the right-hand side. And I looked at it 3 or 4 times. I was thinking, God almighty, that looks like a miniature set.
Mm-hmm.
So they could have done
Yeah.
that. It looks original. That's a good thing. I think what'd be kind of cool is, and I don't know, I think I put it on X. It'd be kind of cool if Willie Lumpkin, they could have a picture of Stanley as Willie Lumpkin Employee of the Month, just to have that without having it, as kind of a, because Stanley and Jack Kirby both had a lot to do with the Fantastic Four, and that was the first one to get it off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'd be kind of cool if they could, obviously they're not going to have a cameo or anything, but just kind of an homage to that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it'd be through Willie Lumpkin,
Yeah.
Employee of the Month and picture Stan Lee.
Yeah.
But whether it'll be there, it looks, as I said, it looks good so far. It looks very original, but I think I know where it's going to go, and I think it'll be successful if it does. So not bad.
I don't know. I've stopped giving up or even worried about the CGI anymore. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm done with it. I'm just done with it. I'm just going to watch the movie. Okay, well, next year, other thing is a guy dressed up and painted silver with or a woman spray can silver. Maybe that'd make you fucking feel better about yourself when you're in the basement jerking off to comic porn.
She's a good actress, by the way. She's the actress who plays Silver Surfer. Is a very good actress.
It's nothing to do with the actors. It's just the basement dwellers just finding something to fucking cry about all the time. Bitching about, why is it a woman? Well, go back. You don't know your comics then. There was a woman Silver Surfer. She's just
an alternative universe too.
Yeah, so shut the fuck up, basement dwellers. And I liked it. I didn't care about the CGI. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm gonna go see it in the theater. I want to see how they do the Galactus. Even in comic books, the aspect ratio of Galactus has changed with every fucking artist. Sometimes the planets he's going to consume looks like one of his nuts, and then other times he's, and then another time the planet's huge and he looks small. So, fuck off. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to it. I like I'm hoping, like what Scott said, I never popped in my head, that they build you up to rip you one, because now they're, and it gives, if you take them from this and give them to 616, and there's a Galactus in this 616, it'll make them want, even try harder. And now they've got all these other heroes to help them to defeat this guy that destroyed their homeworld, right? Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, I liked it. I'm gonna go see it. I'm not gonna cry about the CGI. All right. What else, gentlemen? I got the Fantastic. What else you got there?
Laura Croft's Tomb Raider was in development on Amazon. It's now officially dead. And part of the reason it died was Jennifer Salke, who was the head of Amazon Studios up until about a month ago. It had said she resigned in the beginning, but then it came out that she was actually fired. And when I researched a bit more on some of the things she did, it made a lot of sense. The young English lady, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who was in Indiana Jones, and she was in Fleabag also. Did you watch Fleabag?
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah.
Okay, it was very good. She was in 2019. The more I researched this, I was like, holy shit. She was signed to a deal. They called it the Golden Handcuffs. She was signed in 2019 to a $20 million a year deal to produce a variety of scripts for Amazon. One of them was the script to Laura Croft Tomb Raider. And when it came in, and this is from multiple sources, the script was so bad they couldn't film it. It was terrible. Wow. So in the last 5 years, she made $100 million at Amazon for doing next to nothing. And that's part of the reason why I believe Jennifer Salke lost her job. But the hilarious thing is, just before she lost her job, they re-signed her to another contract for dramatically less. But that is part of the reason why Laura Croft is dead, because there were changes after the Me Too movement, and many of them very good, but a lot of folks who should not have gotten the paychecks that they did get it. And $100 million for doing nothing for 5 years is a pretty fucking good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the
Holy
market.
fuck.
I could do with a job like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do fuck all.
Yeah. But they couldn't do anything with the script, and there were a few other projects she had that just never went anywhere. But $100 million to write, and you really didn't write anything that got filmed. Not one thing that she wrote got filmed, to my understanding, as much as I could research it and find out. So
Wow.
I'd be cocky in Indiana Jones. I was thinking, what a cocky fucking character. She was probably happy as a pig and shit.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Laura Croft,
Good for her.
Tomb Raider, is dead at Amazon. So
That's kind of a shame. I think they could have made something from that.
Yeah.
Or they should have been able to.
Yeah. Well, we're talking dead products. Well, we bring up Black Panther. No, I mean Blade. Blade has officially been put a bullet to its head. They've decided to.
When they announced Ryan Gosling in the new Star Wars film, I sent the GIF out of Blade from the second, and I can't remember what it said, but it was basically like, "Hey, we've been here before, folks. You got." And a lot of people in the comments were like, "Oh, I can't get excited about Star Wars films anymore because we've been bullshitted so much in the last 5 years that they're like, it sounds great."
Yeah.
But the trailer itself, I had a few notes on it.
Trailer for what?
The trailer, sorry, not the trailer. The announcement of they call it The Last Starfighter, I think. Yeah, Last Starfighter is coming out May 28th, 2027. It's going to be starring Ryan Gosling, being directed by Sean Levy.
Yeah.
This is I think what's going to happen is that is Han Solo's son. That's who I think this person is. Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling have had this bromance love affair where they've done movies together. They have a hell of a time doing the junkets. It would get Harrison Ford back for another paycheck in the Star Wars universe through flashbacks, which he would do because he has made it very clear, I like fucking money, and if you'll pay me to do it, I'll do it. And I think if he was having a
Red
good...
Hulk.
Yes, exactly. And if he was having a good time on set with his buddy Ryan Gosling, I think it would absolutely come back. So this is my personal opinion right now that this character Ryan Gosling is playing, because it takes place 9 years after the events of the last Star Wars movie, which I think
Which one was that?
think it's the Last Jedi.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm getting mixed up now because.
Yeah, The Last Jedi. So it's 9 years after that. That's just my opinion. I think that's what it is. It's Ryan Gosling is Han Solo's bastard son, Jon Snow. That's his Jon Snow.
I heard that Harrison Ford was going to retire. He's kind of just said his wife, Calissa Flockhart, kind of said, you need to stop and retire.
They pay him $30 million for a couple of days' work. He'll fucking take it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Of course,
I don't care.
Yeah. It's negotiating. Yeah, it's a negotiating tactic. Yeah, I'm retired. I'm not working anymore. And then all of a sudden they're thinking, shit, well, we really want him, so now we're going to have to pay an awful lot more money. So they're going to be paying him 30 instead of 20 million. And he's thinking, I'd have done it for 20.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Okay. All right.
Well, we'll see. Interesting. I think that will definitely be jumping the shark if he turns out to be Han Solo's bastard son, because it will literally just be an excuse to get Han Solo back on screen again. I'm not necessarily against it. I think it'll be a terrible move because an awful lot of people will complain about it. But I like Sean Levy's work. I like Star Wars, and I like Ryan Gosling. So, fuck it.
So many people hated the way Han Solo died in the film.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of people were like, okay, it's a do-over. It's a proper goodbye, as opposed to one that most fans just weren't a fan of. I mean, it was,
I have some reason to think popped in my head of the Han Solo sitting in there in his chair at home when there was space home, and then there's a rug on the floor and it's Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what he would have wanted.
Yeah. So, Paul, you got anything there?
I've got something that you guys might find interesting. I'm
Okay.
glad you asked. Let me just get rid of that and bring this up. So, have you heard of Mythic Quest? It's an Apple TV
I
Plus
have
show.
heard of it. I've never watched it though.
It's got Rob McElhenney in it, who was in Always Sunny in Philadelphia and the Wrexham TV show.
Yeah.
So
Owner of the
basically,
Wrexham
it's about
Club.
yeah, that's right. With what's his face? I was going to say right. I was going to say
Ryan
Ryan
Reynolds.
Gosling. It's not Ryan Gosling. Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
What's his face?
So yeah. So basically, it's a sitcom about a video games developing company, and I think it's just finished its 4th season or 5th, one or the other. I forget which. Anyway, I had a message from Apple within the last week. I've never seen anything like this before. Let me run it by you. So Mythic Quest by Apple. Apple make it, so it's only available on streaming, on their own streaming thing, the platform. I got a message from them saying that the final episode of the last season, the latest season, has been updated and is available for rewatch. I forget the exact phrasing of the message, but that was essentially it. They'd re-released the final episode because what had happened in between releasing all the episodes for the latest season and now Apple have cancelled it. There was going to be another season. It ended on a cliffhanger, and instead of just leaving it or walking away and just leaving this unresolved cliffhanger, they reshot the last couple of minutes, edited it into the show, took the previous version down, put the new version up, so now it's got a new ending, and now it's a series finale, not a season finale.
Yeah.
I thought, I don't know how I feel about that. It's because, I mean, there'll be a lot of people who would have been really annoyed by the fact that there was an unresolved cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Because we all hate that, to be fair. But you kind of play the hand you dealt. You know, it's like going back and taking something down, re-editing it, and then putting it back up again. It's like, that's kind of cheating.
They're doing
That's
it
kind
now.
of cheating. Yeah,
Doing
because that
it
is
now.
not how the show ended. And you've changed it.
Yeah.
It's really weird. So I went back and I watched it. Basically, there's the two of the programmers, the main characters. They've had kind of a Wildy Waltney kind of relationship, and to be quite honest, it was completely unnecessary. And I wasn't that interested whether they did or whether they didn't.
Yeah.
And at the end of previously at the end of the season, they had a moment, a romantic moment, and then it ended. And then it's sort of like, oh, will they or won't they? Personally, I couldn't give a shit. But they went back, took out the romantic moment entirely, and they just kind of just went back to work as if nothing had happened. Whereas previously, the episode was all about them going their own separate ways, but actually, in fact, finding their way back to each other because they couldn't. They decided that, you know, they actually did need each other. But at the end of the new episode, the new re-edited one, they actually only need each other for work purposes, not because they actually want to be together. It's like, wow, okay, so fair enough.
Yeah.
But I thought they set the precedent now. Apple have set the precedent.
Yeah.
You know, so anybody could do that now.
It's
not like
problematic.
yeah, that last episode of Daredevil I was just talking about. At some point, Disney might say, you know what, fuck it. We didn't get quite as many viewers as we were hoping. It's too much like hard work to shoot another series. Let's just re-edit the final episode, and instead of having that mid-credit scene there, we'll just insert something else that just wraps everything up, and we'll just call it a day. They could do it. Anybody could do it now. Anybody. Netflix can do it. Amazon Prime can do it. It's sort of like all the executives in the boardroom will be nudging each other. You see what Apple did? Apple just rewrote the final episode of that season and then just stopped making them and saved themselves a load of money. I'm like, we could do that. We could do that with Daredevil. We could do that with whatever else.
Yeah.
Anything
Interesting
problematic.
times.
AI.
Welcome to the future.
AI. Yeah. You can just
Welcome to
redo
the
it.
future,
Well,
gentlemen. This is it. They're just going to change it.
Yeah. Netflix, you know how they wait till a year after a show's done before they even give an idea if they're going to come back with it. You know, that's one of the complaints about them. Is that
I'll be right back. I got to pop out for a sec, guys.
Yeah, okay. They always
TV's here.
Yeah, they they take so long to get back to the producers of the company that's made this TV show. They just sit on their hands, and the actors kind of sit on their hands, waiting to see what fucking happens, and they'll suddenly okay, we're going to do another season.
Yeah.
Well, they could use that to say it's been a year. Do we really want to do another season? Okay, let's tell them that we just want them to go back and fix it so we have an ending for the series. So we don't have to do it again. We give them 2 seasons, and we give them a closer now. And so, yeah, because they can pull it out and drop it, because it's not like it's going to go on, the old days when it would be on reruns on your local TV channel, like here in Canada, or they would show like tons of old shows from the 60s, Gilligan's Island and the Beverly Hillbillies. So well, you're right.
This is the thing. It's like when they remade when George Lucas remade Star Wars, like the original trilogy, and everyone was complaining, but the counter argument was, well, there's still the old versions available. Well, that's all kind of been phased out, and now there are no older versions available because everything's digital.
Yeah,
it's only ever been digital. So once it's been re-edited and the old version's been pulled and the new one's been put back in, it really has gone. It only lives in your memory.
Yeah, it
doesn't live anywhere else at all. You can't get any other version, any other copy. That's it, you folks. It's interesting times.
Yeah. I'll bring this up. We got a few minutes. I wanted. There was this article I read about Doctor Who, where it's Charlie Madison. He talked about how the show shifted away from being a show for everyone to a target audience.
Yeah.
I thought I read some of it. It was a while ago, so I wrote down the headlines, and he's kind of right that. You go back to the other show, it was just a show for everyone to sit and watch. There wasn't really a lot of... They made some social issues, but it never really... Like, the biggest one I remember is when Tom Baker had the scene where he had a chance to totally eradicate the Daleks from existence. And he kind of said, do I have the right to do this? But all the other Doctor Who's were just adventures for everyone to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you can say there was maybe some social issues in it or talked about stuff, but they never seemed directed at anybody,
Well, yeah. Now, like I say, my wife noticed this more than I do, so I don't take responsibility for these comments I'm about to make. But what she pointed out to me was that in the show that we watched last week, there were only really 2 prominent white people in the cast. One of them was a bad guy. The other one was a dickhead. Mm-hmm. The young lady that has taken over being the Doctor's companion got angry with him because he wasn't listening to what she was saying. And she made a point of saying, well, you're not listening to me. You aren't doing what I've asked you to do. You are telling me what you're going to be doing instead. Mm-hmm. So she called him out called out this man on, is it not...
Yeah,
which the Doctor has done all the time previously. Someone says, "Oh, I don't want to do that," and then he'll be like, "Oh no, but this is going to be really exciting. They'll go ahead and do it." Well, she wasn't putting up with that. She says, "No, I asked you to do something for me, and you're not listening. You're not doing it." And so there are things there.
Yeah,
I think we're probably noticing them less because that is just the way that society is going now. That is just more prevalent. It's more normal. It's more natural. People sort of think more along those sorts of lines without needing to be told. But the messages are still there. I think they're either a little bit more subtle or we're just not noticing because it's just more normal these days. So there are messages there. If you look for them, they are still there. And I think it is still for a certain type of person. But generally speaking, it was an adventure. It was here's some bad guys, here's some good guys. Here's how we're going to resolve it.
Yep.
Everybody's happy.
But it's the first, the first companion that I can remember who didn't want to go, right? Most of them are
Yeah.
excited about the travel, the different plans. They're going to different places. This one, fuck, no, I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's
no,
gone
take me home.
from a companion that's wants to go do things to a companion that's just basically a hostage, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
You know,
pretty much.
The companion is a hostage.
wants to be there.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah,
I want to go home. I don't want to do this. But every other companion has been, I want to go. This is exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So in that respect, it's just something different, isn't it? It's just a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Like you say, she's kind of a hostage.
Yep.
It's quite interesting.
Doctor Who, the hostage episode, a hostage season.
Yeah.
So, but so you know what? We're also ready to close up. So I'm going to end it there.
Sure.
We're going to end it there, and then I'm going to hang up on you bastards.
Yeah.
Slowly, and then phone you back, and then we can start fresh with a new show. So
sounds like a plan.
Scott, did your TV show up?
No, I didn't. I was sitting here and my stomach was very upset, and then I had to have a piss, and I was thinking, our breaks are all messed up. Usually we'll do 90 minutes to go take a break.
Yeah.
And I got upstairs, sit down on the toilet, got up, looked out, and I'm like, that's why my stomach was upset. I feel better now.
Yeah. So I'm going to...
A solid 18-incher, I was thinking to myself, yes, that's where the pain came from. And
there we go. There's the title of the show.
Well, you know how the toilet will like run a certain length? I was thinking to myself, I literally tape measure the toilet, so to speak. So, but I feel much better now. I don't have that fullness in my tummy at all.
All right. All the other titles have just been totally erased. And we've got 18-incher is the name of the show.
Yeah. That's what we call hitting it out of the park at the final innings.
Yep. So, folks, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. I'm going to leave all my curse words in there, too. And so you know it's... and we will be back with Season 13, Episode 331.
There you go.
And I really don't know how else to end that. That's...
There is nothing more to be said.
Nope. So, thanks, folks. See you later.
See ya.
Okay, bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
That's all, folks.
Thank you. Come again.
Why, you little?